Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Track by Track. We are here today with Logan Mize to discuss his brand new album, Comeback Road. Thank you so much for joining us today, Logan, to talk about your album. I want to know what the process was like for you from start to finish. You know, what went into making this album?
Sorry, I'm still. You had the giggles earlier, so I'm still kind of smiling from it. It's contagious. It's been 5 years since I put out a full length album, and so I've been here at Big Yellow Dog where we're at today, this is kind of the writing room I've used for about 8 years, but I've been here signed at their label for about 8 years, and with a brief stint at Sony Records. Mm-hmm. In that time, you know, it seems like a strange thing, but when you move to Nashville, you think that the idea is put music out, gain fans. You know, you get here, you sign some contracts, and next thing you know, you're fighting to put music out. Right. So when I was at Sony Records, it was almost like a big fight to try and get music out. So the second I got out of there, I got back over here to the Big Yellow Dog label, which they've been so good to me for such a long time. Mm-hmm. And they said, we got to put new music out right away. So we got to work, and we just came up with we rounded up the best songs we could. So I brought in a pile of my own songs that I'd written, and Carla, who runs Big Yellow Dog, brought in a pile of songs that she wanted me to sing, and we listened to all of them, and 3 of mine were good enough to be on the record, and the other 9 were I kind of buckled and said, you're right, these songs are better. So that's kind of how this record came together, and but it's everything I wanted to say, and I love the production, and I think it's great. Dan Agee produced it, and it's my favorite release to date of mine. So, yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about your first track, Somebody to Thank.
Yeah, so this was the when I brought in all my songs, and I thought I had the entire record done. I was really confident that I didn't need any outside songs. But this is Nashville, so you have the best songwriters in the world, one of whom writes right upstairs here in this building, Josh Keir. So he had turned in a song called Somebody to Thank, and at first, I wasn't as open to listening to outside songs. I thought I really had something to say, but the second I heard this song, Somebody to Thank, it sounded like me singing. That's everything in that song. All the lyrics sounded like something I would say. I loved the melody. I loved everything about it, and then once we recorded it, the production was just spot on with what I kind of had in mind. So from that point forward, it was like, well, now that I've cut one outside song, let me try this one, and it opened Pandora's box a little bit, because I started trying out all these different songs that I loved from songwriters who are great here in town. Somebody to Thank was the one that was the first outside song that I really experimented with and fell in love with.
Okay, next up we're going to talk about Cool Girl. So I got to know, is there a real girl behind Cool Girl?
There is, and there's 2 actually.
Ooh.
Yeah, and so Daniel Tashin, who also writes here at Big Yellow Dog, him and I were scheduled to write on the day that his song for Josh Turner, Hometown Girl, sorry, it took me a minute to think of the name, Hometown Girl went number 1, which was a song that I had on hold when I was at Sony. So I was supposed to cut the song. There was kind of a thing between Capitol Records, or I guess Universal Records, and Sony, where I was supposed to have the song, but Josh Turner had it, and he recorded it as well. So anyway, the day that song went number 1 on a different artist besides me, there was a weird feeling of, man, I really wanted that song, but I'm glad that Daniel got number 1. Right. Good friend of mine. So he's up here. You would think that when somebody gets a number one song on radio that they're at home like throwing party, drinking champagne, doing the whole thing. Not him. He was here. He was ready to write a song. And we've known each other for a long time. Our wives are friends. And he came up that day and he's like, I just had a number one song. And sometimes I get that feeling. Do you think, does Jill, your wife, does she still think you're cool, like a cool guy? You write songs and you play in a band and you play guitar and stuff. And I was like, no, man, I don't think. I think the whole thing's worn off, and now she just sees what's actually underneath here, which isn't that cool at all. And he's like, yeah, I think Lily thinks that she's a lot cooler than I am now. It's not a good situation. So we started talking about that. We were kind of gossiping about our wives a little bit. And the whole thing kind of came down to, well, they think they're too good for us, and let's write a song about them. And that's where Cool Girl came from.
Okay, so I have to know, do they know this story?
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
We told them. Yeah.
Next up is the title track, Comeback Road. What went on in this song?
So the original title for this album, like I said, I brought in my songs. I had the entire thing mapped out. The title track that I had for the album was River Road. Okay. So I grew up on River Road in out in Kansas, Peck, Kansas. No one's ever heard of it. No, it's like 200 people. That's where I'm from. I grew up in a town called Clearwater, close to there. But River Road was where my grandparents lived, and then my dad. He built a house right next door to theirs. It's on a river called the Nenaska. And the road to get to there is like a 1-lane, like 2 tire tracks with grass growing up in the middle down through this little valley. And it goes down, it's River Road. And so every kind of childhood memory that I have is there. And then, when I started dating girls in high school, that's where I took them out to this nice little romantic spot at the river. The whole thing. And then even right before I moved to Nashville, that was kind of like my last visit of my last little piece of home that I took before I moved here. So that was what I wanted the record to be about, was River Road and growing up there. And so when I brought the song in, my song had 3 different choruses. River Road did. It never stayed on the same chorus. It changed. There was way too many words. Probably like I have too many words right now. So there was too many lyrics in the song, and it was probably 5 minutes long. And once again, Josh Keir to the rescue, who writes upstairs. He had a song called Comeback Road that I heard, and it was like everything that I was saying condensed into 3.5 minutes with better melodies. And the lyrics were a little more vivid, I guess you could say. Mm-hmm. So I listened to the songs back to back. His song, Comeback Road, my song, River Road. And by the end of the night, after listening to them both on repeat, I connected more with Comeback Road than I did with my own song. So that's when I knew I had to make the album Comeback Road, and completely shifted and changed gears and went with Comeback Road.
Wow, that's very interesting. Now, did you find that you were expecting that, or you did not think that was going to happen?
No, because I didn't want to, because I wanted to like my own song. But when you get a great songwriter like that can encompass so many different people and their emotions, whereas my song was way too specific for me, and Comeback Road is specific for a lot of people, and that's why I knew I had to cut it. Yeah, and I still love that song, River Road, and when I listen to it still, I'm like, man, I hope that comes out someday. But I mean, there was no contest, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, the next one we're going to be talking about is Better Off Gone. And for those who are at home listening to that title could mean a lot of different things. So tell us what that song means.
Well, I don't know what any of these songs mean. It's just country music. It's just a bunch of meaningless stuff. But Better Off Gone is one that has been a crowd favorite. So since the record's come out, there's been, Spotify has all their big playlists. That's the one song that has not been playlisted that I know of, but seems to be streaming better than a lot of the songs, in a short amount of time. So it's been the fan favorite thus far. Mm-hmm. And we got to shows and they sing it back to us as louder than we're singing it. So, and I don't know what it is that's connecting so far, but when I heard the song, Abe Stoklosa, who writes here, and Donovan Woods wrote the song. And the second verse says, "We all knew she was too good for Kansas." And I'm from Kansas, and that's where we built our entire fan base. We started in Kansas, moved to Nebraska, Missouri, Oklahoma, Colorado. So we started our entire touring career out in the middle of the country, and it has that feel to it, you know. So, and they love it out there. So and I hope that's a single. I hope that's the one that takes off this record and breaks this thing wide open. But we'll see what happens.
Well, if your fans have anything to do with it, it just might.
Hopefully so. Hey, I'm Logan Mize, and this is Better Off Gone. The girl's got her eyes on fading horizon. Here come the last line of our favorite song. It's the end of an era. She's gonna tear up that interstate on her way to Charleston. She's gone, moving on, taking off my leather jacket. Gonna drive as far as she can tonight. Gonna sleep on the roadside. She'll know in our hometown country station turned to static. She ain't ever been that far from home. I know she's better off gone. We all knew she was too good for Kansas. Swears we'll end up together in the end. She wouldn't have to say that if she really thought that. The fact is, she ain't coming back again. She's gone, moving on, taking off my leather jacket. Gonna drive as far as she can tonight. Gonna sleep on the roadside. She'll know in our hometown country station turned to static. She ain't ever been that far from home. I know she's better off gone. The only good thing I ever had is up and gone away like that. I love her enough to not hold on. It's gonna break my heart, but I'll get along. And she better off gone. She better off gone. And she's gone, moving on, taking off my leather jacket. Gonna drive as far as she can tonight. Gonna sleep on the roadside. She'll know in our hometown country station turned to static. She ain't ever been that far from home. I know she's better off gone. Oh, she's better off gone. She's better off.
Okay, the next song we're going to be talking about is Ain't Always Pretty.
This was there's a song on the record called Catch a Fish, which I wrote with, actually it was, I think, the first song written for this album. And I wrote it with the Warren Brothers and Lance Miller. And I brought in a song title that wasn't that good, and we were trying to write it, and it wasn't working, and Lance threw out this idea, Catch a Fish. And we wrote it, and by the end of the song, which took 45 minutes to write, it was just one of those that kind of fell out. And it's my favorite ballad I've ever written, probably. But at the end of it, they were like, "Man, this work tape sounds great. We need to send you more songs." So after I left the office that day, they sent me, I don't know, they emailed me probably 5 or 6 songs. Mm-hmm. And the first one I opened was Ain't Always Pretty. So I opened it, listened to it, and I was like, my God, this is a hit. So I called Brett Warren, and I was like, what's the deal with this song? Why does nobody cut it? He's like, well, Tim McGraw actually has been saying that he wants to use that for his next project. And I was like, oh, okay. Oh, well, just a minute. So I called Carla Wallace, and I was like, hey, listen to this song. Carla Wallace runs Big Yellow Dog, the label I'm on. Okay, so I called Carla. I said, hey, the Warren Brothers wrote this song called Ain't Always Pretty. McGraw wants to use it for his next project, but I have to get this song right now. And so she listened to it, and she's like, yeah, you do. Just go record it. So I went out to Dan Agee's studio, my producer, and we started working on it right away because we knew that this song was going to be a hot item. Mm-hmm. So the minute we finished it, we put it out as the first single before we put out an EP or the full-length album. And the day it came out, Bobby Bones put it on his show that morning. So he played it 2 times, and on the halfway through the second time of him playing it, it was already at number 2 on the iTunes download charts. And then we were like the number 8 trending artist download in the world, so on iTunes. Wow. From that song. So it connected. And so at that moment I thought, oh, everything's just changed. So I remember waking up, listening to that show that was about 6:30 that happened. By 8 o'clock we were sitting at number 2 strong. We were at number like 7 in all genre. So I'm going on a running through Thompson Station thinking, what am I going to do here? This is crazy. And the wild thing was not a single label on Music Row cared or wanted to make a move on it or anything. I'm probably old news. I've been here for 12 years. So I'm the guy that nobody probably wants to touch or do anything with. So instead of signing with a major label and making it a big hit like a lot of times you see happen, mm-hmm. we just continued on and finished the whole record. But Ain't Always Pretty is the anchor of the whole project for sure.
And that's a truly incredible story. And I gotta know, have you heard from Tim on this? Do we know about? Does he know about this?
No, but I'd love it if I did. I'd love it if he called me. If he called me to even cuss at me for cutting the song that he wanted, that'd be cool.
Tim, you gotta call.
I've been a fan for a long time.
That's great.
Hey, I'm Logan Mize, and this is Ain't Always Pretty. There's a fast food bag watered up in the backseat. Old fence post staring right back at me. Get a refill at the 7-Eleven, still hotter than hell in the shade of 7. Cash my check, fill up the tank, buy you a flower and buy some drink to sip on, to live on. Watching that summer sun drip on fields of green. Baby, I wouldn't change a thing. It ain't always pretty, but you are. Ain't easy, girl, but it ain't too hard. Meet me at the corner pub, send me a seat. Won't be anybody there, lucky as me. Old blue collar, blue-eyed, worth it. Yeah, whatever we're doing is working. Like Jack and Diane, just singing our dirty. Life goes on, it ain't always pretty, but you are. There's a Mickey Mouse magnet on the Frigidaire, holding me and you laughing at the county fair. Merry-go-round and round it goes, just like these dusty nowhere roads. It's either too dry or raining, it's either hurry up or waiting. I love it that you like the way I sing. Sunday morning cigarette, Amazing Grace. It ain't always pretty, but you are. Ain't easy, girl, but it ain't too hard. Meet me in the back, keep set me a seat. Won't be anybody there, lucky as me. Old blue collar, blue-eyed, worth it. Yeah, whatever we're doing is working. Like Jack and Diane, just singing our dirty. Life goes on, it ain't always pretty, but you are. Oh, you are. Get it wrong, we get it right. Funny thing about this beautiful life, it ain't always pretty, but you are. Ain't easy, girl, but it ain't too hard. Meet me on the front porch, save me a seat. Won't be anybody there, lucky as me. Old blue collar, blue-eyed, worth it. Yeah, whatever we're doing is working. Like Jack and Diane, just singing our dirty. Life goes on, it ain't always pretty, but you are.
might get a little giddy here because we're going to talk about my favorite song, Drinkin Buddies.
Drinkin Buddies. It was kind of a beachy demo. Chris Galbuta and Kylie Sackley wrote this song, and I heard it. I was walking around the office one day. Carla Wallace, who I've talked about, I think every single one of these song rundowns, was playing it in her office, and so I went down. I was like, "What's this?" And she's like, "Well, this is a song Chris turned in. I think you really need to hear." And Chris is a great songwriter, a great friend of mine, and it had this really beachy feel. I think it was a Kenny Chesney pitch. I don't know what they were going for, but I kind of heard it as a Mellencamp kind of up tempo thing. Mm-hmm. I'm sure he hates that we cut it like that because it's completely different from the demo. But to me, it felt like an up tempo drinking song, and it was a lot of fun to do. I started a campaign to get Garth Brooks to come sing this with me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, didn't work. We got like 25,000 views on this video though, and it was completely ridiculous.
That's a plus.
Yeah, I had a cardboard cutout of Garth and everything. He rode around with me in my minivan. It was great.
That could have been better, right?
Yeah.
I think that's a great thing. And I mean, how memorable is that?
Yeah, so now the goal is we need to get Mark Chestnut and Tracy Bird and like some of those guys in to sing on it. So, which would be a lot cooler than Garth. Sorry, Garth. But anyway, so hopefully that happens. But the song was really fun. In the studio, there was a lot of things thrown at me that I wasn't necessarily comfortable with. If you hear, like, after the second chorus, there's like a big ooh thing, and I fought really hard not to do that. It's like an R&B soul kind of something that Meghan Trainor would do in a song, and I didn't want to do it. And he said, "Please, you can do this little vocal run, ooh," something like that. I mean, it's a lot higher, but anyway, I didn't want to do it. Fought tooth and nail, and finally I did it. And he's like, "Oh, that's perfect." Yes, he put it in the track. So now every time we sing that song live, I have to do that damn little ooh thing. And
the ooh song?
but I love the song. We have Drinkin Buddies shirts, so if you come to a show, you can get a Drinkin Buddies shirt, and we have Drinkin Buddy koozies. It's a hot thing. It's a hot item right now.
Well, and I'm just gonna say I'm siding with him on this because I love it. It's my favorite song on this album.
Well, thank you. I'm glad you dig. It's a lot of fun to play. It's my most fun guitar song on the record, so I love playing it live. But yeah.
All right. Okay, the last one we're going to talk about today it's kind of like the runner-up to my favorite, and it's called Big City.
That's the sleeper song on the record, and it's the most out of character for me for sure. So there's a thing that happens here at Big Yellow Dog Music, and that thing is Daniel Tashin writes a song like every day and turns them in. And he's like a master of making anything that he does sound like the biggest hit you've ever heard. So, and he writes great songs. I mean, he's written number ones for big artists. But anything that Carla plays in her office is a Daniel Tashin song, you will immediately be humming for the next hour or two. And this is one of those. And it's one of those choruses that kind of goes on forever. You think it's going to stop here, and then it goes up again. It's an infectious thing. Lyrically, it's completely out of my wheelhouse, but I felt like I needed to challenge myself there a little bit. And so we cut it just as an experiment, and I turned it in. I was like, I don't know, it kind of feels left-footed for me. And everyone at the label was like, this is our favorite one. Mm. So I'm stuck with it, but I'm glad, and it's a great song, and Daniel knocked it out, and we pretty much copied his production on the whole thing. So it other than me singing, it sounds pretty much like the demo.
Right. Now, I have a question about that. Would you say that you've learned not to just go with what you're feeling and what your favorite is? Because I feel like oftentimes in life we sell ourselves short when we do that, because it's not about what we like, it's about what others like. So have you learned that lesson, do you feel?
Yeah, for sure. Because, it really, at the end of the day, it's entertainment, and unless you have a serious truth and like something on your chest you got to get off, then really, at the end of the day, what you're going out to do is entertain people. And so the best song has to win, and your opinion is not always the right opinion. So I feel like it takes a team of people that are veterans in this industry to kind of say, and I value everyone's opinion. At the end of the day, it's my name, so I kind of pick what goes on the record. But there are a lot of opinions that I value, and a lot of other people's work goes into making one of these.
Okay, so I have to know, have there been any moments during the creation of this album that have stood out to you as your most memorable? And has anything happened to you since creating this album that you're looking forward to experiencing?
The most memorable creating it, we've always been on the road a lot, so we were coming in and out of town to sing and work on songs. But I think the most memorable, as we talked about with Drinkin Buddies, was making the cardboard cutout of Garth Brooks and having a dialogue with him, bringing cardboard Garth over to my producer's house and forcing him to be a part of the video. It was a day and a half ordeal, and I don't think he was happy about it. But he entertained and he humored the whole ordeal. That was probably the most fun part of the thing. Coming up, we got a tour with Cam, who's a good buddy of mine. We've been friends for a long time. Her husband, Adam, and I are drinking buddies.
Nice.
So, yeah. So we spend a lot of nights at random bars, like kind of figuring out the meaning of life together. But I'm really glad that Cam asked me to go. Hopefully he's going to be on the tour with us. So we're going to do the whole West Coast, and it's called the Best Coast Tour. She's from the West Coast, so of course it's the Best Coast. And I have musical roots in Bakersfield. So my uncle Billy Mize, who passed away last week actually, is one of the pioneers of the Bakersfield sound. So I'm super excited to be out there with Cam doing the West Coast tour, and that'll be November through mid-December. So that starts, I think, in 3 weeks.
All right, so we were talking about, the cardboard Garth and all of that. Do you have any other videos that you're working on? And is cardboard Garth ever going to make another appearance? Because I want to see it.
Yeah, well, actually, there was pressure from once everyone saw cardboard Garth, they were like, "What about cardboard Kenny and cardboard Tim?" And I think that still needs to be a thing. And eventually, something will stick. Cardboard Aaron Tippin, whatever it's got to be. But yes, we are doing right now a video series with Budweiser. It's called the Somebody to Thank video series. It's the first song on the album, Somebody to Thank. And so basically what we're doing is we're going around and thanking people, whether they've been part of my life and a part of getting me down the road on my journey, or somebody who's just a military guy, or somebody who's done a random act of kindness, whether it's a farmer, whatever it is. So somebody that needs to be thanked that probably doesn't get thanked often enough. We are doing a video series where we go and we thank them, and we share Budweiser with them, and it's kind of an event. So look out for the series. It's called the Somebody to Thank series with Budweiser.
Well, I can't wait to watch, and I'm sure our fans at home can't either. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to this week's episode of Track by Track. Special thanks to Big Yellow Dog Music for letting us use their amazing room to talk with Logan Mize about his brand new album, Comeback Road.